Here in the centre of Brussels, Animal Health Europe have been staging an event involving a series of meetings, panel discussions, debates and formal presentations. The title really speaks for itself: Food and Farming, Well Fed or Fed Up? And I've been catching up with some of those debaters and presenters to ask them about their main messages to this audience.
We are now obsessed with metrics. Everything always boils down to metrics, so it all depends on which metric you're going to use.
I think one of the main issues we're facing now, if we're talking about food production in general, is that we're always very reductionist in our lookout to the system, and we tend to abuse the metrics always, and we lose our common sense approaches. And the danger of that is that you will end up with slogans and non-factual information. We certainly need to get the education going again. Especially young children are completely disconnected from the food production chain. So they need to have this experience of how food is produced, how you take it in the kitchen and make a proper plate out of it, and get that back going.
We're in the business of what consumers want, and they want everything, unfortunately. They want high quality, secure, sustainable, at as low price as possible. Yeah. That's a bit of a, being spoiled. So being a co-op means you always have this direct link with the consumers.
EFSA has commissioned a Eurobarometer to understand better the perception of risk of European consumers, to see where the European consumers get their information, so to help us better communicate about the risk to the consumer, so that we avoid miscommunication and the message gets right into the consumers. And we have learned very important things.
It's true that farmers are getting more involved in research programs for new alternatives, but some time ago it was difficult to find a farmer in the basis of a project, of a research project for a tool both for crops or for livestock. So I think we are doing the good steps, and we are willing, of course, to go forward to the more possible sustainable system.
The political economy of livestock is very complicated because it's associated with the rich who enjoy good food, but also rich producers who have animals, and when they have animals, they're not so bad off usually. But it is also critical for a number of poor people. So you have both the rich and the poor, you have the different regions that have different perspectives on this, different objectives to this. So it's political economy of livestock is very, very complicated, that needs careful navigation. And particularly also in Europe, because it is exposed to trade in a number of ways, not only livestock but also feed. And environmental and animal health and welfare standards, food safety standards are quite different around the world. And I think there is a good chance that this will become part of a trade dispute at some point in the future.
You can have very educated debates about whether the optimal meat consumption is almost 0 or 20 kilos a year or 40 kilos a year. But when you have countries that consume 140 or 190, well, the room for improvement is obviously there, with better nutrition and better food and so on.
Just outside the conference chamber during one of the breaks, I came across several key officials and members of the board of Animal Health Europe. You can see they were having a conversation, but they didn't mind being interrupted by me asking the question on what their impressions were about the conference.
Today we had our meeting, our annual meeting and conference around the theme of food and farming, well fed or fed up. That was the question that was raised both to conservationists, to food producing manufacturers, to farmers, all the way down to consumers. And we realized that although all opinions were not converging, at the end of the day, we all agree that a sustainable, functioning food supply chain was essential for Europe.
Yes, indeed. So what also came up clearly today is that there's quite a disconnection between the consumers and the production and how feed is being produced. And as we all know, until 2050, we expect that the world population grow to 10 billion people, and they need to be fed with good, healthy food, and that you can only provide with healthy animals.
Yeah, but our industry's forever evolving. So as our customers and our industry start to learn how to better predict, prevent, and detect disease. The committee has decided to put together a workforce or a task force to better understand what the tools are that our customers could use, and more importantly, what are some of the challenges we have in terms of getting them out to our customers.
I would like to keep you to your own words and say, let's not scandalize the issues. So let's not go around saying that civilization is going to collapse.
Well, there's been a lot of debate here, some of it quite heated at times, about the role of the press and media in telling the story of animal health and food and farming. So I was very pleased to catch up with a fellow broadcaster who has been sitting on one of the panels.
What's really struck me about this event in Brussels has been the diversity of voices and people being unafraid to challenge each other, have some debate, a few toe-curling moments when, did they really say that? Which is what you need. You need to have open discussion in order to get somewhere. So I've loved seeing meat, diets, food, farming discussed outside the echo chambers where we can hear a bit of proper debate.
Well done. So a lot of healthy debate and discussion on those food and farming issues. This is Nick Wood for Animal Health Europe in Brussels.